Get ready, start. Family planning in India is based on efforts largely sponsored by the Indian government. From 1965 to 2009, contraceptive uses has more than tripled from 13% of married women in 1970 to 48% in 2009, and the fertility rate has more than halved from 5.7 in 1966 to 2.4 in 2012. But the national fertility rate is absolute numbers remains high, causing concern for long-term population growth. India adds up to 10 lakh people to its population every 20 days. Extensive family planning has become a priority in an effort to curb the projected population of 2 billion by the end of the 21st century. In 2016, the total fertility rate of India was 2.30 births per woman and 15.6 million abortions performed, with an abortion rate of 47.0 abortions per 1000 women aged between 15 to 49 years. With high abortions rates follows a high number of unintended pregnancies, with a rate of 70.1 unintended pregnancies per 1000 women aged 15 to 49 years. Overall, the abortions occurring in India make up for one third of pregnancies, and out of all pregnancies occurring, almost half were not planned. On the demographic transition model, India falls in the third stage due to decreased birth rates and death rates. In 2026, it is projected to be in stage 4 once the total fertility rate reaches 2.1. Women in India are not being fully educated on contraceptive uses and what they are putting in their bodies. From 2005 to 2006, data was collected to indicate only 15.6% of women using contraception in India were informed of all their options and what those options actually do. Contraceptive uses have been rising gradually in India. In 1970, 13% of married women used modern contraceptive methods, which rose to 35% by 1997 and 48% by 2009. Awareness of contraception is near universal among married women in India. However, the vast majority of married Indians, 76% in a 2009 study, reported significant problems in assessing a choice of contraceptive methods. The above table clearly indicates more evidence that the availability of contraceptives is a problem for people in India. In 2009, 48.4% of married women were estimated to use a contraceptive method. About three fourths of these were using female sterilization, which is by far the most prevalent birth control method in India. Condoms at a mere 3% were the next most prevalent method. Meghalaya at 20% had the lowest uses of contraception among all Indian states. Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were the other two states that reported uses below 30%. It is important to note that sterilization is a common practice in India. Contraceptive practices in India are heavily skewed towards terminal methods like sterilization, which means that contraception is practiced primarily for birth limitation rather than birth planning. It is common to use camps to enforce sterilization. This process can be done with or without consent. Comparative studies have indicated that increased female literacy is correlated strongly with a decline in fertility. Studies have indicated that female literacy levels are an independent, strong predictor of the use of contraception even when women do not otherwise have economic independence. Female literacy levels in India may be the primary factor that help in population stabilization, but they are improving relatively slowly. A 1990 study estimated that it would take until 2060 for India to achieve universal literacy at the current rate of progress. In 2015, there was an average 58% of women who used contraceptives, with female sterilization still being the most preferred and favored among 91% of women. Higher rates of sterilization are seen among women who hold less education than those with more education. Those with higher education have lower rates due to the delay of getting married and childbirth. 77% of the women who underwent sterilization had not used an alternative contraception prior to the procedure, and most women were under the age of 26 who seem to have many options available in regards to protection. The preoccupation with birth limitation by India's family planning program has meant that it has not been able to successfully reach young married women who are in the process of building their family and enable them to meet their family planning intentions. Stop.